coming out tonight. What is
Now live
Tuesday?
on Instagram.
It's Tuesday night.
It is. It
It
is.
is Tuesday
Yes.
night.
We always struggle with what day it is. Oh gosh, let's say we need more sleep.
hmm
Well, tonight. Oh, okay. There we go. All of our things connected. Tonight's topic is a great one.
Yep.
How to be how being happily single can actually prepare you for your ideal relationship. I'm going to turn off that music. There we go. So, like we were saying, how being happily single can actually prepare you for your ideal relationship. This is a quite a weird topic, I guess, because some people when they think of being single, they think of, being lonely or, sad or not able to, enjoy life as much as you could if you were in a relationship. I will say there is a lots of benefits of being in a relationship, but most importantly, there are also lots of benefits of when you are single, preparing yourself to be whole and ready and committed for the next relationship so that you can be the best you in this relationship and actually position yourself even better to receive a healthy relationship, someone who is also on the same wavelength as you, alignment, right?
Right. That's true. To piggyback off of what my wife was saying, it is very important to, especially while you're single, to prepare yourself for marriage. What that looks like is self help. Get yourself help. If you know that you suffer from situations dealing with childhood traumas, i.e., like the rest of us, like me and my wife, we were raised by single parents. More than likely, you're having or going
Or
to
had, yeah.
endure some sort of trauma
Mm-hmm.
or going to expose some traumas about yourself while you are in a relationship. So it's
Yeah.
important to, like my wife said before, to make sure that you get some sort of, therapy or treatment for that. Because I always say that it's not always fair. It's never fair to bring your baggage into a new relationship. It is not your partner or your spouse's job to fix your problems, but while you're carrying your bags into that relationship, they're going to have to support you through your therapy or whatever situation that you have going for you to get better.
Yeah. And the advantage, though, of what we're actually saying is when you take the time to find your happy place as a single person who is healed, happy, and ready to go, then you are actually aligning yourself to really attract somebody who is just like you. So tonight, we're going to go over these things that you could do to really tips that you can do to really harness this time and harness this potential that you actually have available to you as a single person wanting to be in a happy, healthy relationship.
Yeah. So I guess we can go ahead and start. Here are some jewels you can use to better yourself and get you into a better place to attract a healthy relationship.
Yep. The first one, get to know yourself. My husband was actually already talking about this, but in more detail, what are your values? What are your things that you really need from a relationship? What are the things that your life experience has taught you are really important? What are your interests? What are your goals? Really get to know yourself so that you can then fall in love with who you are and trying to be the best person that you can be for yourself ultimately is going to have you looking for somebody just like that. And then you'll be able to put words and connections and traits to those happy, positive associations that you want in a spouse because I can identify it within yourself and you have taken the time to garner the disciplines that you need to really be able to do these things in life and have these things.
Right. That is the whole, being with yourself. You learn to love who you are. And how can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? I know that may sound cliche, but that is the truth. As far as love goes, you need to first learn to love yourself and who you are so that you can be in the position to love someone else. And you really need to know what that looks like, what you enjoy about yourself, your hobbies, your the things that make you the individual that you are. You will be carrying that into the relationship to hopefully inspire your spouse. Hopefully, you both can find enjoyment in
Mhm.
whatever your hobbies are, and you can build with knowing yourself in the relationship. Now, what we're not saying is that you have to be selfish. These are things that you need to shed. Selfishness is something that you need to shed, and you need to shed immaturity as well. So you need to also be mature in your relationships. Think of others. Think of the feelings of others. Think of how well your significant other may find finding empathy for you, and then also you finding empathy for them and their feelings. That is very important. Understanding their feelings and what they're going through, as if it's something that you're going through as well. That is the oneness of marriage. But don't be confused that you don't have to indulge your whole life into your spouse's situation or their enjoyments or their hobbies. You also are an individual,
Mhm.
but by no means are you selfish when you are in a relationship.
Right. Well said. Yep.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah. Next, another great thing that you can do while you're single that will actually even prepare you more for that partnership, that relationship, and that dynamic of two people is to ask yourself, what are my weaknesses? What are the things that I can work on? How's my communication? Do I problem solve pretty well? How do I handle conflict resolution? Look at your last relationship and what was the reasoning that you broke up? How did you handle the conflict during that time? Or even still, was there not a conflict? Did it end on good terms? How did all of that affect your dynamic? And what do you think about men and women and relationships in general as you move forward? All of that are great things for you to just sit back and think on and put you in a better position of then knowing, hey, these are things that I can work on and I'm able to now take this single time that I have and work on it so that, hey, I can build my confidence and actually make myself better for the next person versus kind of like, wallowing in, oh man, that relationship failed, I'm single again. It doesn't really have to be that downtime where you're just, just down on yourself. You can really take it as a true opportunity to reinvent like a 2.0 you who you can really take into a new self-esteem that will really garner your next relationship and push it forward in a whole nother dynamic because you go into it totally different than you did your other relationship. It gives you like a higher perspective on things. So yeah. The next one. Yeah.
I
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to
go. Good.
input on that. So, honestly address that with yourself. What are your weaknesses?
Yeah.
Now, what are your weaknesses in your relationships in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Men, were you not a provider?
Right.
Were you not a protector?
Mm-hmm.
Women, were you not showing grace
Mm-hmm.
to your partner? Were you not patient? Were you not kind?
Helping.
And vice
Mm-hmm.
versa, and being supportive. Be
Mm-hmm.
honest with yourself. What are
Mm-hmm.
things that you would break up with yourself
Yeah.
because you do it? What are the things that you do that you would break up with yourself that you don't like about yourself? Is it
Mm-hmm.
your image? Is it your weight? Is it
Your mindset.
your mindset?
That's a big one. Mindset will hold you back from a lot.
Right. Because, negative people. I don't know how many people like to be around negative people, but I don't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sure don't. So,
Yeah.
those are things that you need to work on as
Mm-hmm.
far as building yourself up, being better for the next person in your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then, selfishness. I spoke about that previously.
Mm-hmm.
Selfishness will end relationships. It will
Mm-hmm.
doom your relationship. Nobody wants to be with someone who is so selfish because
Mm-hmm.
selfishness is tied to immaturity. I already spoke about this.
Yeah.
No one wants to be in a relationship with someone who's immature.
Right.
But by all means, dig deep inside and think and review yourself. If you have to, look in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. What are the things that I need to fix about myself today? You should do this on a daily basis.
And affirm it within yourself. I definitely say that. While you're in that mirror, take that time to say, this is it, and affirm that I am that. I'm going to do that. I am actively looking to be that. I always love to say I am for something because it really resonates to you already being in that space. And then if you can really apply the disciplines of, all right, so what's the next step I got to take to really get into more alignment of that? It's really not a pity party. You don't want to beat down on yourself because the objective is to keep moving forward. So we all know you can't don't be hard on yourself where you're beating down on yourself and you put yourself in a, sad state. Just bring it to awareness. That's all you're trying to do is bring it into awareness and let it be, just let it be and kind of in a way detach from it. You really want to detach from it.
Right. Right. I mean, for instance, I'll, share an example with myself, by doing this video, doing Blueprint Family Jewels with everyone on a daily basis. I've noticed my image. I didn't like my image on camera. So what I started doing was exercising. I went back doing my push-ups, doing things like that. I was very honest with myself. I was honest with my wife. I felt like, wow, my face is getting round. My stomach is getting round.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm getting older, and I'm noticing these things, and I'm gonna notice it all the time by recording myself during the week.
Yeah.
So those are things that I saw that I need to improve in myself.
But you didn't wallow in it.
Right. I didn't judge myself at all. It just is what it is. I took it as a challenge and then challenged myself to go and do it and fix it, do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't just complain about it, but also do something about it.
Yeah, definitely. And look for that confirmation within your own action, right? So go back and think about, hey, I'm going to do these set things every day to work towards that. And then I'm going to reward myself on that because I'm sticking to that. Like you do yourself your push-ups and then you play your video games, or in between that time, you're like playing your video games and doing push-ups. That's just an observation I noticed. So that's like something you enjoy doing along with something that, is like a new discipline, a new habit. So you're making a better association with that new habit that's actually going to elevate your life and how you look at yourself and your self-esteem.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And then also too, shout outs to our viewers as well.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining. If you all want to put any comments or have any questions by any means, please go ahead and we will be able to provide input and comment back to you, whether you have a question or a comment. We enjoy it. So thank you all viewers. You're the reason why we do this.
Yeah. Up next. Be honest about, we have to go back. Connecting with a higher power. I really like that when you're working on acknowledging yourself and getting to know yourself, being able to connect with that higher power in that time within yourself and really garner like a way for you to have self-belief and courage within life and all that you're doing in life. And just know that, hey, I'm working towards a better good within myself and ultimately within the world.
Yeah, I mean, being connected to a higher power, that what you're doing is you're submitting yourself to something that that is bigger and larger than you. And it's a humbling experience. So you want to carry those characteristics of humbleness into your relationship as well.
Yes, right on.
Can we do the conflict resolve one?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So how do you conflict resolve? So conflict resolving, communication is a foundation building block when it comes to relationships. Communication. You can't get anything done without communication. There's different types of communication, and we talked about all of them when it comes to different stages of relationships. So you can review our videos. So it's very important early in your relationship that you all communicate to have a marriage vision. With that marriage vision, you will decide who's doing what roles, relationship roles, understanding who's going to provide what, who's going to support in different situations, and who needs to, basically, like I said, you're going to establish your roles in the relationship. And what that does is prevents confusion. It stops confusion in the relationship, so you all don't know So you all do know where you all stand and what stage of the relationship. So you need to also learn how to conflict resolve. Like I was saying. So what does that mean? We define that early in our videos, talking about reconciling issues, negotiating problems, and then resolving those with some sort of solution. And that step, in that order, is how you resolve problems. Like you need to understand your communication styles, as far as touch, love language, things like that as well.
And what you want and
Hmm.
desire.
Right.
Yep.
So communication is key. Conflict resolution by far is one of the biggest building blocks in a relationship. You don't want to always have a grudge against your significant other, because what does that do? It breeds resentment. Resentment turns into competition. You're competing in a relationship, or either you're shutting down in a relationship during arguments, or either prior to an argument. So you
Mhm.
don't want to have communication blocks that will deter your relationship from growing. You don't want that to happen. So, learn to conflict resolve in a healthy manner.
Yep. Yep. And take the time to recognize that within yourself. What can you work on? Yep. That's so true. Next, you kind of hit on this a little bit, but be honest with yourself and what you are looking for in a relationship. Honestly, what are you looking for and where are you, as well as in alignment to getting with that desire? Where do you stand? Are you a part of that ideology? Do you have the thoughts, or do you have the behaviors in order to adopt that vibration into yours? Is that possible? Is that something that you're wanting to work on? Really have that honest conversation with yourself and say, like, where am I? And realistically, what do I need to do to get closer to that desire, closer to being kind of exactly what you want your partner, your spouse to be, pretty much?
Right. But also hold realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You all know what that means. If you want if you want a supermodel girlfriend and you're making 33,000 a year, more than likely it may not happen. So understand your probabilities and work with probability instead of possibility, so that you're not wasting your time chasing dreams. Have realistic expectations
Yeah.
about yourself and who you want to date. So we talked about hypergamy, hypogamy, hypogamy, all of those things. Understand where you fit in at, whether you have to date down, or if you're in a position to date up. If you got it all, you can date up if you need to. But understand what those situations may look like for you. Have realistic expectations. Understand. I always say this too, like, ladies, if you know that you valued, that you're basically out of the market as far as the as far as your looks, your money, maybe your finances, don't expect to find a man who is going that you want, who may be in a better position in order to that you think is going to come and save you, when you know that you have baggage and things that you need to fix about yourself first. Try to date that person and see what happens. What happens is that all of that stuff gets revealed. And I spoke about that before.
Or either you attract somebody just like you.
Right, exactly.
And that's even worse.
Because you can
trauma bond.
More than likely you're going to attract your equal or less. We talked about that before. You're going to attract your equal or less, in which you may be disappointed in that. Unless you are realistic about your goals and who you are.
And working on getting in alignment so that you can better
yourself.
be in yourself and be in position to attract someone just like yourself.
Right.
That will offer you in a different manner, though, of course, because you're not looking to date yourself, but that will offer you the characteristics that are kind of like your the things that you need a spouse to offer.
Right. And understand this, if you're an average person making average money, look just like everyone else, you're going to more than likely date someone who's just as average as you are, if not less. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's normal. Like, that is so normal.
Yeah.
And truth be told, women naturally, we're the beautiful ones. We spend the time getting all pretty and dainty. You know, that's what we like to do. So your man, you may have to make him look good, you know, pluck him up, do some
or inspire him.
Yeah, get him to work out, you know, get him to
want to do better.
Yeah,
or for himself.
Fix his hair, you know, shave his mustache. Yeah, dress different. Like, there are ways that you can make your man, you bring to your man the, you know, the look good. Especially because some men just don't, you know, they don't do that. Some men, this is not them. So, but, you know, they will actually be okay with a woman probably doing that for them. Especially if, you know, the woman then giving him the goods because she like him and she's more attracted to him, you know, after she's done all that. And she's like, ooh, this is going to be a nice relationship because, you know, you can dress them all up and stuff. Think of it like your little, not your little, but like your loving doll or your loving part, you know, thing that you're not, I don't want to make it sound bad, but it's something, you know, like when I associate with my doll babies, I used to, like, when I was a little girl, I used to like dress your Ken dolls up, you know, and have them look nice with the Barbie, and they got the matching outfits and stuff, you know, the PJ pictures and stuff like that.
Project.
Yeah.
Yeah, make your husband your love project.
Yeah. Where it is all love and you enjoy doing it. There's nothing wrong with enjoying helping your spouse look good and feel good, because they will love looking and feeling good that you like it, you know?
Right. But also too, and being honest with yourself, you need to recognize what are your deal breakers, and also what are your must-haves in a spouse, and understand what that means to you and what it looks like. You know, what do you need? Someone who will support you? Do you need a stay-at-home wife? You know, women, do you need a stay-at-home husband?
Right.
You know, in order to, you know, if that's what you need, then that's what you need to look for. And you need to make sure that you can provide that opportunity for him if he's a stay-at-home husband.
Right.
You know, these things could be achieved, but you first need to be able to communicate about it and understand what those expectations are. So make sure that your expectations are realistic in your relationship.
Yep. And what you expect your spouse to do.
Right.
And then also, too, be mindful of what you want to do for your spouse and like how the position you want to play. What are you desired to do? I think you kind of hit on that before, but you know, what the role you desire to play, honestly, and make sure that's something that you really committed to do, because you don't want to get into the relationship and you start doing it and you be like, dang, I don't want to do this no more. That sucks, you know, because then you're not happily enjoying your relationship. You really want to be in a happy space when you're coexisting with your spouse. You know, you want them both to be enjoyable.
Right. You know, and the tough thing is a lot of us don't even know what it looks like, what those roles look like in a healthy manner.
Yeah.
Because we were raised in single parent households. So you have to sit back, and if you don't have an example of it, you have to sit back and try to envision it. What it would look like if I was a stay-at-home mom, or what would it look like if I was a stay-at-home dad? Because it's not all fun and games. Right. To be honest with you, it's a lot of work, a whole lot of work, and at times you may even wish that you went back to work instead of being a stay-at-home parent.
Yeah.
So you need to have those realistic expectations, have those talks with your spouse, understand your roles in the relationship first before you leap into marriage.
What you're actually committed to. That's why I think I often say, like, you need to be committed to the idea of marriage and committed to your role of marriage before you even get a spouse, before you're even in a marriage. So then that way you go into it and it's less like, I guess, like that guesswork or that nervousness, or even like when you hit a rough spot, wherever you're at in your relationship, it's less on shaky ground in a way, because you're more like, you know, for this long, I have been saying I'm going to commit to this, you know, and I'm going to be this and I'm going to do this, you know, so you're just like, okay, this is what it is, and you work through the problem. It gives you that tenacity in a way to handle marriage and all that it comes with, because that's what marriage really is a commitment throughout life.
It's a marathon.
Yeah, throughout life, and you got to push through it and keep going and nothing.
Keep running.
Yep. So if you can build that and garner that, garner that while you're single, and happily garner that while you're single, you're in a great place to really attract someone who is also happily single and ready and eager to be in a relationship and a marriage with the same vision like you, because in a way you would have materialized that thought by actively putting the time into saying, hey, this is something that I'm going to achieve, so I'm going to start working on it now, and I can only start with myself, right? Yep. So up next, we talk about this is cool, to walk right on to working on your self-esteem. So definitely working on your self-esteem while you're single is a great thing to do, and it's going to make you happy. That is most important, because you really want to feel good while you're single, because it puts you in a great position to then attract from a more feeling good place, not a negative place or
empty place.
Or dissatisfied place. That's no way to attract. You're going to attract more things that you're dissatisfied about. So definitely try to attract from a place of, hey, I'm happy, and I can build my self-esteem and build my image and who I am and how I think of myself up, and be in that place now while I'm also doing the things that are going to keep me in alignment with that.
Yep, building self-esteem is very important.
Yeah.
You need to have a positive image of yourself. Like I said, you need to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, what it does, it creates a discipline. Having a good self-esteem about yourself, you carry that type of attitude over to your spouse as well. So you don't know, nobody wants to be around, like my wife said before, someone who's so negative, and especially someone who thinks so negative about themselves either. That's a hard, that makes the relationship very hard to try to be in it with someone who has a very negative outlook about themselves.
Yeah, that's so true.
So try to focus on things that you are comfortable with, and your strengths, and work on building your self-esteem.
You're kind of cut off from the thing.
Oh.
From the Instagram. I wanted Instagram people to see you.
Okay. Thank you, honey.
Okay. So next, one more thing about self-esteem is when you have found those things that like, hey, I am really good at communication, or I am really good at, I look good, or I am, really good at all these great highlights that you have, then take the time to figure out how you can improve on these highlights even more. There is never a thing or an idea that you can't improve even more on those good qualities that you have. You can make them even better. That's how sports is, a great thing, and it's great for athletes, especially those who always are looking to better themselves and improve their game, because that's just what you naturally are doing. You're looking for a way to get better and better at the thing you're already good at. So yeah, if you can focus on that, then you'll really be able to boost your attractiveness and, in fact, highlight those things on a major scale, what you're good at, because you have taken the time to sharpen it and giving yourself the self-confidence and the self-esteem that's saying, hey, I know I'm good at this, and, I'm going to display it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well said, honey.
Up next. Oh, I guess we're moving right on down through this.
Yeah, we got more to go, though.
Yeah, because we are going to get into another topic about when you're single, but most importantly, being open to meeting new people.
Being open to meeting new people. Yeah.
Excuse me.
If you're on the dating market, you can't be shut off. Everyone has their likes or their what is it? Everyone has a particular type of person they like. Preference. Thank you, honey. Everyone has a preference, but you need to also be open-minded as well to who may come across your path. because what you're looking for, it may not always be what attracts you. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to get into a relationship with what you don't find attractive. But the thing is this, someone may exhibit the skills and qualities that you may need as far as being in a relationship with that person. So you need to be open in meeting new people. And that may means that you may not normally always talk to these types of people or races of people or ethnicities. So you need to be open to joining or meeting new people. So what that means is that you may need to do something different. You may need to do something new as far as your social life goes. If what you're doing with your social life is not working to bring in somebody new into your life, what that means is that you need to try something else in order to meet new people. What you need to do is increase the opportunities where you can find your future husband or your wife. Because evidently, what you're doing every day, going to the grocery store, to the gas station in your neighborhood, around the block, around the corner, is not working for you. So you need to better position yourself to find that person.
Mm-hmm.
We've given advice before, some secrets, dropping jewels on you. Ladies, if you're looking for a handyman, try to go to Lowe's or Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
See what type of men are there.
Early in the morning.
Right. More than likely, you want to find the man with the dirtiest jeans and the dirtiest boots in there. Because more than likely, he's working.
Mm-hmm.
This man knows how to work. You need to find a man who got the biggest cart of lumber on his cart, the biggest pile of lumber, the man with the biggest bags of mulch, because more than likely he's working. So if that's what you are interested in, ladies, if that's what turned you on, your man is at Lowe's or Home Depot. And guys, I always encourage guys to find women in bookstores because she has a discipline of reading. Women that read have some sort of discipline because they're not watching TV all the time. I wouldn't say go to the gym. You don't want to date people from the gym. It might work out for you, but what happens if that relationship doesn't work? That means you're gonna have to see her again at the gym, and things may go bad. And you're gonna have to change your gym and get a new membership. So don't do the gym thing. But you get what I'm saying. Find the qualities, discover the qualities of what you like in people and in the opposite sex, and then you will go and find out where they are and go there. You may find somebody that you're compatible with, but more than likely you'll find somebody who you find their characteristics and their traits attractive in what they do. Yep. So that's my advice. Those are my jewels that I'm dropping right there.
Yep.
So be open to meeting new people.
Yeah. Maybe do like meetup groups or something like that. Find groups, I don't know.
Yeah, meetup groups take mm-hmm. It's kind of hard because I don't know, don't do what's not working I heard of the dating websites. The dating websites are not working for people.
Yeah.
And
like
they're more
probably
than
hookup playgrounds,
Right, because that's all people are doing up there, hooking up with other people.
Yeah.
And more than likely, they have an avenue to communicate with more than one person through that dating website. So all of your time and attention you may not have that person's time and attention. That's what I'm trying to get at. So they may be interested in other people. But what that means is that if you're going to take that avenue, you need to be a damn good provider and protector men. And then women, you need to be damn good about providing and supporting, being supportive and being in your feminine qualities when it comes to men. Because the best one is going to win. Those dating websites are nothing more than a competition playground. And so that's the reason why a lot of those uh, relationships that start from dating websites don't work.
Yeah.
They still have access to other people. So if you're dating somebody on a dating website, more than likely they still have somebody else in their phone that they have access to, and they probably hit them up on a regular basis. So
Mhm.
just be wary of that.
Yeah, you don't
But
really want to use those
right,
like
but
that.
be open to meeting new people, real people who
Yeah.
have hobbies, characteristics, and disciplines.
Yeah, and who you can actually have conversations with. Like I often hear that like people don't really talk as much as they used to. They more so like on their phone and won't really like have actual dialogue and conversation because it's kind of the age that we grew up in and we went through. It was I remember, in the 90s growing up, that I ain't that old, but in the 90s growing up, we didn't have as much. We were texting, sure, but it wasn't as deep as it is now, where people don't really talk on the phone. I remember still avidly talking on the phone, having no problem getting on that phone and having a conversation. People now shy away from phone conversations. So that's kind of, you really want to be able to talk and have a good conversation with the person to really feel out if they align with you and have those values. But also at the same time, it's also really cool just to go to different activities that you enjoy doing as a single person in hopes to meet somebody who's also doing those things already and really looking to kind of come right in with you, in a way where your values and what you're thinking about, your activities are already really aligned up, especially if you're trying to, find somebody who is definitely marriage minded. They're more so working. They're more so busy trying to better themselves and, improve themselves as well. So, that's kind of what you want too. So never shy away from those, meetup groups or those groups of like-minded, you know, ideologies and things that you want to align yourself with. Yeah, I think that was all of them for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, by following these tips, you will definitely be able to stay happy within who you are and whole within who you are by first getting to know who you are, yourself, loving yourself, and who that person shows up as. You first, recognizing if I'm showing up with some damage or if I'm showing up whole. And if I am showing up with some damage, that's okay. Let me do these things to love myself back where I need to be by actively doing those things that I know will help me in the long run. There's nothing wrong with change. Change is a very beautiful thing. And I think that's really what the beautiful part of being single affords you that opportunity is where you have all the time and all the opportunity to fix yourself because you're not actively already in a relationship with somebody. So it's not more so like, how can I, make sure I'm still being a good partner and spouse to my person while also fixing myself or whatever you have to do. You're actually able to do that stuff ahead of time, and then you'll line up and be able to actually be able to love and serve your partner as well.
Right. And my advice, especially to younger people who are single, take the time to explore who you are.
Yeah.
Probably less of trying to explore other people. You need to really understand what drives you, and then also to what you want to be in the future. So, if you want to be a father to the young men, you need to understand, of course, how to be a provider and a protector and what that looks like. Young men need to get a mentor. If you don't have a father, you need to find some sort of man, father figure, somebody who is righteous and ethical and has high morals in society. Because what you want to do is trying to get all the knowledge out of that person that you possibly can that will put you in the position to be a great provider and a great protector. And then women, align yourself with the goals of what you want in a family and what does that look like. You need to also have a mentor, ask questions dealing with relationships with the woman that is closest to you, who's willing to provide sound advice, who's they themselves are married and are a happily married wife and have and maintain high ethics and morals in their marriage as well. That is what you can do as far as the young people to learn more about being in a happy and stable marriage, but also to preparing yourself for that relationship so that you don't doom yourself from the start. It is important because we're being raised without two parents. The majority of us are being raised by, you know, single parent households. So we're missing a lot of knowledge when it comes into the dating game. And then we treat it as such, like a game, you know, like we can just trade around people. Minimize your risks, young people. Don't have children too soon in your relationships without knowing whether or not this relationship is going to take you somewhere. Don't do that to yourself. Your value gets lower when you start having children and you don't have a home, you don't have a supportive spouse, a supportive partner that can help you financially, someone who can't protect you, someone who's not being a helpmate to you, or what have you. Minimize your risks. Don't put yourself in bad positions because you're out here in the streets having multiple partners that you're sleeping with. Don't do that because that you're ultimately setting yourself up for failure. You are. Now, I'm not saying you can't be resilient and come back from it, but you're digging yourself a hole if you make one mistake. And I'm gonna leave that there. But by all means, if you can, learn and understand what minimizing risks are. Be more so focused on yourself and making yourself the best that you possibly can be mentally, health-wise, spiritually, and financially. Because it's only getting harder and harder out here for people to establish themselves. Case in point, look at the housing market and how many people are able to buy first-time homes, or either see how many first-time homes are available, and then base that off of your salary. See how much money you all make, young people, and then see what it looks like as far as a house, if one is available.
Yeah.
You know, be cautious of that. Be conscious of that. You know, that is real. So minimize your risks, because the more mistakes you make in life, the more you're going to have to financially pay for those mistakes, whatever they may be.
Yeah, that's true. And men, I like that, because men, you need a house to put your wife in. Don't try to get no wife with no house. You need a house.
And then also,
Focus on that
too, don't be out here sleeping with multiple women either.
Yeah, if you can't give them no house.
Or you ain't gonna put houses in you can't put them all in the house.
I mean, some of them down with it. I don't know. I was thinking, could we do this where now we're actually going to get into a slight,
do whatever you want,
a slight different topic, but still align with when you are single. But in particular, here are some signs that you could possibly be afraid of commitment. If I can read one, then you read one.
Okay.
Can I read one?
Sure.
Okay.
You want to start?
Sure. Or you start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number one, you avoid getting close to people. So you avoid getting close to people.
Yep. You're afraid of being hurt.
You're afraid of losing independence.
Yep. You're afraid of making a mistake.
You are afraid of being trapped.
You're afraid of change.
You're afraid of responsibility.
You're afraid of intimacy.
You're afraid of failure.
Yep. Or you're afraid of the unknown. Let's not have any association with these things. But if you do, this may mean that, hey, you may have a fear of commitment. And that could actually hinder you from moving forward and actually establishing a healthy relationship.
Right, because what happens is that you bring these fears into those relationships, and they consume you.
Yeah.
And it tears and it dooms your relationship. because it becomes a hindrance to the other person. Fears get on other people's nerves when they're not fearful, and then especially if you can't shake that fear. Like for instance, like women who are scared of commitment in relationships because they're examples of the past. Oh, it's going to end in divorce anyway.
Or that's all I heard. Those scare stories.
Or all men are dogs.
Yeah.
Those aren't men; those are actually boys. But that's for another topic later. But you can't bring fear. These are your bags that you're bringing into these relationships that we just explained. So that does not work. That doesn't work. What is afraid of being trapped?
That. Oh, you know what is so funny about that? I actually seen
to me, that's like physically being trapped.
Being trapped in a relationship or being trapped in from not doing, I guess, whatever it is you want to do. And within the relationship, you don't feel like kind of the association of you're walking on eggshells in a way because you're like scared or afraid of doing,
or either
something.
Having kids, or like go back to what I was saying, you're trapped in a relationship you don't want to be in because you slept with somebody who you don't want to be with.
Yeah, but now you got kid with them, and now you gotta be with them for that kid.
You don't have to be with them though. You have to be there for the child.
Yeah, but you have to have a relationship with them still by default because you got to communicate about the kid. Especially if you're not together and y'all not even physically together, and you got a baby, and you want to know about the kids. So you gotta.
We should do a show on traps.
That's good. Traps. Okay.
Don't fall into the trap. And then we could talk about men.
Oh, don't be afraid of being trapped, because even just being afraid of being trapped will put you in a trap situation.
That women will trap a man with a baby or try to get them pregnant. But we're like, why would the guy fall? Of course,
that was that new Drake thing, isn't it? And then what is it, Drake for us?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but those are above average people.
Yeah, but if it's happening to them, then
it's happening to everybody.
But yeah, it could happen to.
I guess desperate people do desperate things.
Yeah,
for attention and time and for love, relationship. Yeah. You don't want to trap somebody into a relationship. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, because it's not a good place to be in.
That only breeds toxicity. Y'all gonna be arguing all the time because that person don't want to be in there with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I digress, but that's what happens. People get trapped into relationships and they can't get out of them because they're working. They don't want to get a divorce, and have to pay for all these children and leave, the spouse. But to me, I would rather do that because that's your peace of mind. You don't want to put yourself in a situation that it'll get you into more trouble.
Yeah.
Because you got fed up and then you're upset,
Yeah. But even still, don't even get trapped into thinking about these fears of that happening to you or that being an issue. Because if you're actively working on being happy, healthy, and whole within yourself, you can shed those fears and realize what true love is and be open to receiving that from a healed place and not a place of toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So here are some tips if you do have a fear of commitment, because that's okay, because it's pretty common, especially in this age of no commitment. People can be fearful of it, but commitment is beautiful, and commitment shows discipline, it shows stability, and it shows strength. So really don't have a fear of commitment. But if you do, first thing, talk to someone you trust, whether that's a friend, a spiritual counsel, a coach, whoever it is that you trust and you genuinely know within your life that you can lean on them and you always have. Let them know that you have this fear of commitment, and maybe even talk about how you can, where this came from and how you can move forward in a healthy way of getting rid of this fear of commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
you can talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Do things that will help you overcome your fears.
Yep.
Whether you're somebody who introverts out there, like I said, if you're scared to communicate with people, do improv.
Mm-hmm.
Just randomly go to an improv group and just start doing improv comedy or something, whatever may amuse you. Do things like that. Join groups. Do things that will get you out of your comfort zone into wanting to be more social. Play team sports, something like that. If you're very introverted, jump out of a plane
Mhm.
or something like that. Do things that will help you face fears and help you to overcome them.
Yeah.
You don't have to jump out of planes, but you get what I'm saying. Like, do things that you don't normally do in your day to day or
Yeah.
the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. You could get to know yourself, work on your self-esteem, be honest, of course, about your fear of commitment with your spouse. If you meet someone that, you come across and you're considering them, be honest and say, hey, I have a slight fear of commitment and I, want us to be able to take this relationship and ease that fear by being open, honest, transparent, and having a good communication from the very start. When you're able to let out all of, your expectations, how you can really find yourself in a safe space within the relationship, let all this be known so that you are going to the relationship feeling comfortable and saying, hey, I can trust this process and I can ease into it and relax into it so much more because I've, gotten rid of this fear of commitment by getting it out there.
Yeah, you should expose all your fears to your spouse. It's not about a control thing. If that's your fears is control, you shouldn't come into the relationship thinking that you shouldn't be in a relationship if someone's trying to control you, first of all. But you want to expose your fears and let your spouse know those fears. You need to let them know your triggers, things that make you upset as well, as well as your fears, so that you all can properly communicate and have and so you also can work on those issues as well. So you have the proper communication, you can work on the issues, and then you have a better, enjoyable experience as far as your relationship goes.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Remember, having a fear of commitment is a common problem for people. So it's okay for you to have this. Just be aware, like we've talked all throughout this video. Be aware of these things so that you can put yourself in a better position to rid yourself of those things and replace them with peace and love and happiness. And that's really what it's all about, having those feelings instead of fearful ones.
Yeah. So a relationship is something that you should enjoy. So
Mhm.
whether you are single, enjoying your single life, but also to do things that will make yourself better if you were in a relationship.
Mhm.
Make yourself marriage fit so
Mhm.
that you will be all ready for a relationship and embrace that relationship head on instead of trying to run from it.
Mhm.
So, with that being said,
Yes.
you all have a good night. Thank you all for coming out. Please like, share, subscribe. And until next time, Blueprint family, good night. Peace.